Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SavvyCast. This is Jamie, and I'm thrilled that you're here today, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast. I'm thrilled today to have a guest who is going to educate all of us on sauna, infrared, and light therapy. I have Connie Zack. She's the co-founder of Sunlighten. They are a global leader in infrared saunas and light therapy. Connie and her husband, Aaron, left successful careers in pharmaceuticals to revolutionize the industry with science-backed innovations. A pioneer in infrared light technology, Connie has helped drive education on its benefits through collaborative partnerships. As a passionate advocate for holistic health, she incorporates nutrition, exercise, mindfulness, and infrared therapy into her own life. So without further ado, I would love to welcome to the SavvyCast, Connie Zack. Connie, welcome to the SavvyCast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, Connie, I am so grateful. I know you're very, very busy, but as you know, I have had a sauna, a Sunlighten infrared for going on a month, and I cannot stay out of it. I do it every day, and I have had measurable benefits for one of the reasons I bought it, and that's osteoarthritis. But I've seen some other things that we can get into at some point in the conversation. But you are an expert on sauna. You are the founder of Sunlighten, which if anyone does any research, y'all will emerge at the top of most every search. Can you tell us, first of all, how you got started in this business? I know you're in pharmaceuticals, so where did that jump from being in the pharmaceutical industry go that led you to Sunlighten to start this company?
Yeah, so I was in pharmaceuticals with Procter and Gamble, and I was doing pharmaceuticals because in my soul, I really wanted to leave this world a healthier place and make a difference, when it came to like the wellness, category. And I was super passionate. I really felt that I was doing that at P&G. And it really wasn't until my brother was extremely ill with chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia and vertigo. He was really, really ill. He was really young and he couldn't do anything. And he tried everything under the sun. Pardon that pun. It just came to me. So
How old was he, Connie, when this happened?
He was young. He was, I don't remember exact age, but I mean, he was, let's just call it in his early 20s. And it wasn't until his dentist told him, and again, this is a long time ago, over 25 years ago. So just even saying that, and imagine a dentist in St. Louis having the knowledge, wisdom to say, I think that the reason you're so sick is because your mercury amalgam fillings that you have are leaking into your body and you need to find a way to get it out. And I think I can help you, as I've been doing some research, and there's a technology called infrared, and it's a very special wavelength that could help detoxify the body and potentially, pull that mercury out. And it's like, I think you should investigate and think you should find an infrared sauna and you should start using it. And that's what he did, and it changed his life. And so I saw that, and at the time I was also in St. Louis working for P&G. And I saw that firsthand transformation. It completely changed his life. Like I'm not at all like, making it, larger than it was. He went from like not being able to get out of bed. We couldn't as a family go on family vacations because he couldn't walk up and down stairs because he had such bad vertigo and such bad fatigue. And
how long after he discovered and started infrared, between when he started and when he started seeing improvement, what did that look like?
Yeah, so it took a long time, which was one of my passions, because I was like, there has to be a better way. This shouldn't take as long as it did. So that was just kind of one thing I just, said to myself, kind of, I wonder if I could do better. So back to your question. So he noticed a difference right away because he was so sick, right? So I mean, like he noticed, he's like, oh my gosh, I noticed I feel a little bit better. And so he did a very slow, took his time in the process. And, within the next year, he was able to, function, and I saw the transformation. And so I decided to leave my great job. And at the time, my fiance, which is Aaron, who's now my husband and business partner, he was also at P&G. And so we both left our job. It's crazy. And decided to bring forth all the knowledge about infrared, and develop a more efficient, more effective product that wouldn't take as long to heal, put some science behind it, and just master the technology. And that's what we've been spending all of our time doing for the past 20 some years. So it's really,
Wow.
really crazy, because it's not like I would, somebody, if I was mentoring somebody, it's not like I would say, oh yeah, quit your job, take out all these loans, mortgage everything that you have, for something you really don't know much about. But that's what we did.
So where did you go to learn all about this? Because back then it was not only cutting edge, it was like practically non-existent back then, wasn't it? To find
Yeah,
an infrared 25 years ago?
yeah, yes, it was non-existent. So I had the great fortune with P&G of having access to medical journals and everything at my fingertips, because
Mhm.
that's what I did in the pharmaceutical arena. And I also had the great knowledge of how difficult it is to develop products, such as pharmaceutical medications that can change the body without significant adverse effects. For example, I was on the cardiovascular side and the gastrointestinal side for a little bit. And on the cardiovascular side, I learned that it's really hard to develop a medication that lowers your blood pressure without changing your libido, without making you go to the bathroom
Mhm.
a ton of time, without changing your body in so many different ways. And so I'm sharing this because when I started to do a deep dive into infrared, I found a lot of science. And I mean, I should have brought that up first, because that's really what intrigued me. I saw all the science specifically in the cardiovascular field and how it was significantly helping the heart, how it was changing your endothelial lining, how it was improving circulation, and it was making essentially the heart a lot healthier and stronger. And and the biomarkers, there was significant change, which that's so hard to do in a pill.
Mhm.
So the fact that they were able to show that, and this was all in Asia. That was the interesting part, is A, it was all in Asia, B, nobody in the United States knew anything about it, and C, I kept thinking, if we could take the time and study this, more extensively, and help bring this forward in the United States. I mean, if this really does everything that, like, now I know it helps to detox, and then now I also saw the cardiovascular data. I'm like, wow, this could really be life changing. So just combined everything, and it literally was just day by day, just doing more research, doing more investigation, talking to people. So we started really small in our basement, and then just continued to grow and learn. And over the past 20 years, we've had many different milestones. As far as, first, we really understood more about far infrared, and which is one wavelength, which we can talk about the different wavelengths. And then as we evolved, we started to understand by talking to more scientists that, oh wow, there's more than just that wavelength. There's also mid and near and red. And so then we started studying that, and at every milestone, we started bringing more products to the market with more science to support it, and just kept sharing as much information as we could, and partnering with people like yourself, to help people. And everybody has a story, about what's going on in their body, and how their Sunlighten helped them. So they would share their story, and
Mhm.
people relate to other people's situations, especially if they're
Mhm.
going through something similar.
Were you all one of the first to produce an infrared as we know it today? One that, I mean, are they even making traditional saunas anymore?
I'll answer both those questions. So
Okay.
first, were we one of the first? We were there were a couple other companies, and when we started, we had to just buy from them, right? Because
Yeah.
we did not know what we were doing. And so we were just learning we were literally like building the plane while we were flying it. we just learned as much as we could. There was a company in Canada that's not there anymore. And then there was a company in California, and we did everything we could to learn as much from them. And we actually worked with the company that was in Canada,
Mhm.
and then we just grew. And but yeah, there weren't a lot of companies, and there also weren't at the time, there weren't a lot of differences in the category at all. Everything was really the same, which made it very difficult really to compete, because people would ask, why should I buy from you versus somebody else? And I mean, it's like, because of me. Like, that was my answer. Because of me, and because I'm
Yeah.
passionate, and because I care.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't have technological differences at that time, because we didn't even know the technological differences to create. We didn't know how to master the wavelength. And as
Mm.
far as your second question, as far as traditional saunas, yes, traditional saunas are still being made. In fact, they are extremely popular in Europe, because of the origin, was in Finland. And so yeah, they're still around, and there's a value to heat, in any form. Infrared works very differently than, traditional heat. But I'm a big fan of, however you can get to sweat.
Mhm.
Sweating is so important, and it's so powerful, and that it's really game changing for your body.
Well, and I do want to address that because until this sauna, and I don't know if it's the condition. I know there is a condition where people who do not sweat. I do not sweat. But I will tell you, Connie, I worked out this morning and I did not work out any harder than I normally do. And I sweated, if that's the appropriate term, just like I've started doing in the sauna. And in the very beginning in my sauna, like the first week, I wouldn't sweat, but it's almost like it gradually eased my body into sweating. And you don't know how thrilled I was because I thought I would feel it on my back. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm finally sweating. And I think it sort of kicked my body into something that I don't necessarily have to be in it anymore. Now, I don't know, is that a thing where it can?
That's you bring me back. Like, that story reminds me so much of when we started, because I had that same situation. Like, I would sweat when well, I still am. I like to run as one of my forms of exercise.
Mhm.
And back in the basement, we would, Aaron and I would run every morning. And when I ran, I sweat, but I struggled with sweating inside the sauna, inside the Sunlighten infrared. And I was like, that's so weird. And it was finally after, let's just call it 5 or 6 sessions,
Mhm.
where it was like a key that had been, like, that something
Mhm.
unlocked, my system. And then I started sweating, and I mean, and now, now it's really changed my whole system. And I also learned that it does to help in other forms of exercise. And really, the healthiest people, the people who sweat really quickly, are like, benefit so great. The other people do benefit so great from this too. But I have just learned over the years that the level of sweat that you have is an indicator of what's going on in your body. And so infrared is one of those ways that can change that. Whether you're like a heavy sweater or a light sweater, it can completely regulate your body, which is, it's just a great benefit.
Well, Connie, can you just, for those, and myself included, I'm just learning all the differences, but can you explain what is the difference in a traditional sauna and an infrared sauna?
Yeah, so I like to frame this and there's really three different things to think about of how infrared is different from traditional. So first, I'll just touch on how does traditional heat work. And traditional heat, just like in a sauna or outside, is convectional heat that heats up the air, and then you get hot because the air is hot. And traditional saunas are 170 and up, right? So that's just the basics. The infrared wavelength, there's three different parts that are different. So first is the heat source, which I'll talk about. Second is the light source. And third is the spectrum aspect. So the heat source is the fact that it's a more gentle radiant heat that does not go as hot, And what's really fascinating and what really delivers all these magical benefits is the fact that the energy from the heat is absorbed into your water molecules and your mitochondria. And
Mm.
that's what changes everything in your body. It doesn't heat the air, it heats your cells, right? It really is, it's absorbed. The second is the light aspect. And this is, I could talk about this all day long just because we are in such need. Everybody's in such need of more light energy into their bodies. It used to be so different when everybody's outside all the time, working in the farms or working outside.
Mhm.
This doesn't happen. And infrared has this powerful light energy that is needed to power and activate and supercharge our cells. So we're these, our bodies, you think about your body as a solar panel,
Mhm.
infrared is the activator that turns everything on and powers everything and converts all of your cells and increases your energy and makes your body stronger. And so there's that whole light energy aspect with it so powerful. And then the final is you really get 3 to 4 times more, I don't know if benefit is the right word, but you get 3 to 4 times, yeah, more benefit than a traditional, because you're getting the 4 different parts of the light spectrum in the infrared wavelength. So in each wavelength, far, mid, near, and then red, has very specific healing properties that are different than the other one. So when you do, you don't have to get all 4. And so I'll address that. Some people like that, it's always a big question, but that's an option. Where in traditional, it's heat on or off, right? It's just a different
Mhm. Mhm.
delivery. But with the infrared energy, you get the chance to have those 4 different levels of energy that work with the body in very different ways. And then as a result, transform your cells in different ways, unique ways. So if you can do all of that and get all 4, wow, that's really supercharging your body.
Well, Connie, okay, so there's near, mid, and far, and is there another wavelength?
So there's near, which constitutes also red, but I've been breaking it out because I get so many questions about red. So I just want to call it out for people because otherwise they're going to say, well, what about red light? And
Mhm.
near and red are right next to each other. The only difference is the fact that near is invisible light and near is visible light. Well, there's 2 differences. So it's the
Right.
visible versus invisible. And then near infrared goes deeper, which is why we chose that wavelength 15 years ago when we invented Impulse, which is the one that has all 4. We
Mhm.
chose near infrared because we worked with Dr. Whalen, who is an expert on near infrared, and he was the one that brought it forth with NASA. And the near infrared, the invisible wavelength, is the one that goes the deepest into the skin. So it has the most amount of benefits. Red doesn't go as deep, but there are some really great benefits. The reason we started to explore more red is because people don't really, if they can't see it, they have a hard time mentally like thinking, is it really working? And so we started exploring the visible part of the spectrum, and then we eventually brought to market all 4. So in Impulse, you have far infrared, which is absorbed into the water molecules. It's the coolest wavelength of the 4. Mid infrared is a little bit hotter, so it delivers a hotter experience. It really is great for muscle recovery. And then near and red, which are just super great for your mitochondria, your cells, as well as the skin. It really, really helps to accelerate skin turnover and just give your skin more collagen and elastin. So that was a really quick summary of all
Well, and
4.
I know, red light, or at least in my particular circles, it is the thing. People will pay like literally by the minute, by the session, to stand in front of the red panels. In my research, I did not see any other of the brands that I was looking at that had it built in, that had the panels built in. I think maybe there were some that you could add that on, but in mine, it was just part of it. I almost always do anti-aging, or that's one of my favorites because of the red light. Why did you all decide to include that? Because when you could probably have gotten that as an upgrade. It's built in.
Yeah, we decided because we wanted to we wanted like the easy button for people. We wanted
Mm.
people to be able to go inside and press a button, and all this hard work that we had done, all this science research that, we had explored, we wanted to bring it and package it so they could just press a button and say, okay, I want to do cardio. I want to,
Mhm.
I want my heart, I want to have my heart healthier. I want to, my skin to look better. So I want to help with anti-aging. I want to decrease inflammation or pain relief, or detox, weight loss, and relaxation. Those are the 6 programs. And so we decided that we wanted to bring, in order to do those programs, you had to have all of the wavelengths, because
Mm.
far isn't going to do it all. Mid's not going to do it all. Near
Mhm.
definitely isn't going to do it all because of the way it works with your skin, and definitely not red light. That's the least of the 4. So we just, made a conscious decision, intentional decision to work with a lot of people that were smarter than we are, and developed programs and put it in. And then relatively recently, we've included the red, because even though near is penetrates deeper and it's really more effective, we wanted to make sure if we could include it in, and if you do both of them together, you get an even more powerful impact on the body. So,
Mhm.
and we're all about like delivering the most effective, the most infrared dense product on the market, so that people can not have to, worry about it, and have peace of mind that their time. I mean, I'm a huge believer in that your time is so valuable. You don't want to spend more, your time doing things if it's not helping you.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of where our passion comes from. And how can we have people spend their time most efficiently inside our sauna?
Okay, that is so interesting that you said that. One of the things that I love about my sauna is I do mine in the morning.
Mhm.
Occasionally, I will do it at night, and I will do the relaxation. My husband prefers the night, and he typically does relaxation. But I go in and I have my podcast, devotional, whatever. So I'm listening, I'm in the sauna, and I'm also and there may be better practices. That's one thing I want to ask you, but I will put the parts of my body that need the most infrared, like my hips. I'll sit and I'll do my stretches. So I feel like I can't stand to think that I'm like not being productive. So I'm getting my devotional or my podcast, I'm getting my stretching, the sauna, and I just feel like I'm productive. If someone says I want to be productive and I want to do everything I can in a little bit of time, your programs are, or the in my app, you've got cardio, weight loss, anti-aging, relaxation. I may be missing one, but if
Detox.
detox, that's right. So if you do one of those, and I think the longest is,
Cardio.
and that's 30
45 minutes.
45. Okay, the others are 30.
Mhm.
If you stick with those, are you going to continue to get benefits no matter how long you do it? Or do people need to increase that time as they acclimate to a specific program?
Okay, that's a great question. I want to make sure I answer it precisely. So if you have something, for example, let's just take pain relief for a second, because that's one of my favorites, of just based on, it's what I'm a geek, it's one of my favorites because of the science behind it. But it's so effective for helping your body at a whole body level. I mean, like I call it the whole body longevity tool, because it decreases your entire, all the inflammation, not just some inflammation. And so that program is going to, you don't need to do more time than the 30 minutes that it consists of. You don't, doing more time isn't going to create a more therapeutic experience, especially when you start to layer in near infrared, because near infrared, the body can only absorb so many joules. Joules is a unit of measurement, so much at one time. So you're not doing anything to keep your body exposed to near infrared longer than the program, for sure. So with that said, if you want a different experience, or if you want to add on, because I love what you said. Again, that brought me back to when I was training for my marathon a couple years ago. I would go, mine's in my basement. And so I would go downstairs and I would put my feet and my knees up right next to the near infrared LEDs.
Mhm.
And because of the way it penetrates the skin, it would help
Mhm.
reduce the pain. And I'm telling you, it was an instant thing where I could barely walk down the stairs when I started to increase over 10 miles. And then, you keep stair stepping up and you go up all the way. Like my body just hurt after a run. And, but yet after I would go downstairs and I would put those parts that were hurting right up against it while I would be lying down on my back. I mean, I would run up the stairs when I was done. I mean, it was just I am positive that that was a huge, huge tool in me being able to have a beautiful, enjoyable marathon experience. I've heard so many horrible stories, and just having that resource that I could go downstairs and do it. And I did, after every single long run, I would always go in there and use one of the programs. Most of the time it was a pain relief program.
Okay, I'm going to start doing the pain relief more. I have been doing the anti-aging because it was my understanding, but I see now that the red light, when the red lights go off, I'm like, oh no, no, why the red light? Because that's in our mind, those red lights have to be on. But now I see that there is a red light type that you don't see.
There's a near infrared, yes.
So,
But with both of them, just to be clear, both of them, both near infrared and red light, you don't need to be in front of it for very long. So they're cycling off because your body can only absorb so much at a particular moment in time. So they're cycling off for efficiency. There's no reason to run them because there's nothing, it's not going to do more. But on that note, on the anti-aging, I love the anti-aging one. And I always, always, always did my anti-aging program before I would go out for any type of big event where I was going to be in front of people. I'd always go and I would sit backwards. So I would sit like with my face right next to the LED panel, and I would just sit there and I would just really do deep breathing and just kind of visualize that, wavelength penetrating my skin and giving me that great boost in collagen. And just, I felt so much younger is not the right word, just so much healthier and so much more vibrant and glowing when I was done. And so you should, if you want, you should put parts of your body that you want greater impact right in front of the LEDs, because it does work. You just don't need to do it for very long.
okay, that was another question. I'm so glad you answered, because in the beginning, and we got the 3-seat because I wanted to be able to lie down. But then I did hear that you do need to put whichever part you were focusing on in front of the panels. So what I do is I put my face against the panel, right up near, and then my fingers, which have given me one of the reasons I got this, and I'll put them there as well. And Connie, I will tell you, and I've shared this just on my Instagram stories, it is measurably better. My pain and the swelling does go down. Now, I can still see that you look at me and think, oh, she probably has osteoarthritis, but the pain is not what it was. But I
So
feel like if
great.
I were to stop doing it, I think it would come right back. It's almost like one day of exercise is not going to solve all of the problems that you exercise, you'll lose it. So that is why every day, not only do I enjoy it, every day I do it, because I think, well, especially when it's cold, I think, okay, if I don't do this today, it's cold outside, my fingers are probably they're going to inflame. So that is my personal experience, but also my hips. I take Pilates, and my Pilates teacher told me, she says, you have very, very tight hips. So I will even turn the bench is positioned right there, turn this hip and I'll stretch. So I feel like I'm working on positioning myself. So in other words, what you would like to say to people is you can lie down if you want to and sleep, But if you have specific body parts that need addressing, you're going to want to position yourself.
Right, position like go you can easily see in our sauna, you can see the LEDs, both the red and the near. You can I mean, so
Hmm.
you just position your body, right in front of it. And what I love is one of my favorite benefits is the fact that it's one of the only tools on available that you can do multiple things. So I call it habit stacking, or sweat stacking. You can do multiple things while you're in there. It's such a great use of your time. So you can enjoy, so let's call it a program, right? Enjoy your pain
Hmm.
relief program or enjoy the detox program. And then you can also simultaneously, position yourself to be getting more topical, more intentional treatment, with the LEDs by putting your body in there. And then you can also, once you're done with that, because you don't need to do that very long, then you can do some, meditation, you can do some journaling, you can do,
Yes.
been really, really working on breath work and breathing and just, really just making sure that, I'm slowing down because, we both, I'm sure,
Yeah.
live such fast-paced lives.
Mm.
And so I really want in my brain when I'm in there, I really want to do everything I can to allow this magical, transformative, healing wavelengths to get into my body and to do the work that it's designed to do. And in order to do that, you really do need to have your body and mind in a relaxed state, with just as relaxed as you can possibly be so that it can do all those, terrific activities by increasing your circulation and by helping with your brain and all the different things that it
Mm.
does. So I encourage people when they do it, to just really relax. And it's another benefit of when we talk about red light. So we also have a red light panel as well that has red light and near infrared for those people that, can't, you know, get a sauna first. But, so
Mhm.
if that's something that interests you, it's the exact same technology. It's in our Sunlighten, but it's in a red light panel. But the advantage of the sauna with the red and near is that just what we discussed is you can do other things
Mhm.
while you're in there. So you get the benefit of being able to get a bunch of stuff done, or you can listen to your podcast, or you can work on your
Mhm.
podcast. I mean, there's
Mhm.
just the list is endless of what you can do while you can stretch, you can do yoga,
Mhm.
you can exercise. There's just so many things that you can do that benefit you while you're getting all these rays of energy into your body, changing your body for the better.
Mhm. You can have your own little, now this is I guess a trademark name, Hot Works, your own little where you do yoga, or like I'll even sit and stand up and down off of the
Yeah.
bench, sort of squat. Now I know you can remove the bench where you really have a big space to do all that. I typically, I carry some hand weights and do that. But when you do your personal routine, do you remove the bench to do all of that, and you just work around it?
No, and I hadn't thought about the weight, so I love that. So thank you. I'm gonna steal that
Mhm.
from you.
Mhm.
Um, no, I really work on relaxing and just allowing the energy to help with getting rid of the 20,000 things that are on my brain.
Yes. Mhm.
And I find that not only does it get rid of that mind chatter and just the brain, like just that all the stress that we're all under, but then it makes a switch from getting rid of all that to giving me more energy and more creativity. And so I
Mhm.
will come up with all sorts of great ideas or solutions to problems that have been weighing me down, or parenting. I mean, I have two teenage boys, which is the hardest thing I've ever done, even harder than starting my business for sure. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
And so
being a
like,
parent, yes,
oh,
can
it's
be
so
hard.
hard. This stage is just,
Mhm.
I know people always talked about it, but God, it's
Yeah,
hard. It's really hard. And
yeah.
so like when I'm in there, I'm just, I'm like, okay, just breathe. And sometimes I'll come up, I'm like, oh, we could do this. And this would be a good solution for this situation we're going through, and which is such a gift, and it's helping your body do the things it's designed to do. But we get out into the world and we're exposed to toxic chemicals. I mean, we're exposed to over 700,000 toxic chemicals every day, and there's more that are keep going into our environment, and we have high levels of stress, and we have all these commitments, and so it changes our body, and our body can't do all the things that it's designed to do, and infrared is really the great tool to put us back, kind of do that reset button to say, look, let's get you back to the original state and heal naturally and heal safely and give you the energy and the cognitive function that and the reduced pain that you should have to live a healthier life and to feel as great as you can while doing it.
Well, I would love, and I do want to ask you this. What is your personal routine? How often? What program? And I do want to step back, rewind, and say one thing. When you said glow, one thing I love about when I do red light, I walk up because I'm pasty white unless I get spray tan. But I come up and look in the mirror and my face, it looks like I've been out in the sun, but with a healthy glow. I love, but I don't have to worry because I will never get in a tanning bed. But it gives me color. It gives me just a little vibrance, and I love that because it's something that looks healthy, and I know too it's adding benefits. So that's one thing I love about the red light.
So on the anti-aging program, it combines far infrared and near and red. And that's really, the far is really important for glowing skin to give you that radiant, because we have a saying here at Sunlighten, purify the body and the skin will follow. That you can't purify the body with near or red. Like there is no detox. It is superficial, and it is strong, and it's intense, and it's great for the skin on the outside in. But far infrared helps clean and purify and transform and increase circulation. So you get that radiant glow because you're improving the flow of every single system in your body. So you're getting just that one. It's really similar to if you had just gone for a run. You go for a run or you exercise and you come back and you look like $1,000,000. You just look so healthy. And that's the same type of experience. And it just every time I hear that story, I'm sure, I've told this before, but it just reminds me of back a long time ago when we opened. So we have a day spa that's in our building, and I really wanted to understand how people were using our saunas, and I wanted to understand their experiences. And so I spent a week down there sitting out, kind of being like what's it called? The not imposter boss, but like the boss that's like, people don't know who I am. So I'm just kind of like,
Oh, the secret shopper or the
yeah,
mystery.
exactly.
Yeah.
The consistent piece was when they would come out of the saunas, they had that just gorgeous. And this is before red light. This is when we just had far, mid, and near, but they had that gorgeous, radiant glow that you just looked at them and you thought, I want to look like you. Like that's the way I want to look. And that's how I do. That's how I look when I get out of mine. So it's a very, very powerful experience, but it comes from the blend. Not the blend. It comes from isolating the wavelengths and then having them all work independently, but yet together. That's why you're getting all of that.
Okay. Well, tell me, because your skin is beautiful. I mean, you're beautiful, but your skin's
Aw.
lovely. Do you have a set routine or do you switch it up?
That's a great question. And I do switch it up. So the only thing that's really consistent with my use of the sauna is I am a morning person, and I like to stack all my fit things like strength training or yoga or running, which is probably my favorite. Well, now I'm really getting into walking because, well, lots of different reasons. Yeah, my husband and I have these just amazing conversations when we walk, and we're just able to kind of sort through everything. So I love that. But then I would like to sauna afterwards. So I do it in the morning. The one thing I've changed over the years that I highly, highly recommend for people is to not put yourself in a box, in the sense that you only take your sauna if you have 30 to 45 minutes. Don't think
Oh,
that way. So if somebody's thinking that way, well, I'm not going to do it today. Just discard that, delete that, cancel that thought. My new instructions for your thought is, I have 10, I have 5, I'm going to go in. And you will find that, you know, lifestyle habits are created when you do them consistently, and really created when you enjoy them, right? Because if you don't enjoy something, eventually you're just not going to do it. You can, you know, power through
That's
for a
right.
certain amount of time, but
Yeah.
it's like, you know, drinking a protein shake or drinking something. It's like, you know, you're chugging it down. Eventually you're not going to drink that. And so I encourage you to just now, if I only have 5 to 10 minutes, I will still do it. And I find that I get in there and I start to thinking about my day, and I'm like, okay, if I move this or if I move this, I could stay in there another 5, you know, 7 minutes. So I end up getting, you know, 20 minutes versus not doing it at all. And you're still getting value. You don't have to do, since we've talked so much about the programs, you don't have to do a program to get therapeutic value on your body. Just, you know, get in, the energy is going to be absorbed. You know, the light energy is going to penetrate the skin, whether you do a program or you don't. If you just turn it on, you know, all of it was going to come into your body. So it's better to do a little than not at all. My other routine is, and I would love to hear yours when it comes to, is there anything that, you know, you do before or during or after? I'm a big water girl, and I love my lemon water. And so I will hydrate a lot before, during, and after. And I also recommend, this is, you know, in the newer part of my routine, is to supplement with different types of elements. So to check your sodium, check your magnesium, and just make sure you're getting electrolytes, because it is intense. It's not, it feels so great that like, it feels like it's like this just, you know, like luxurious thing it's not really doing. But the reality is it is energy medicine at its finest. So it is working on your body. And when it works on your body, you're going to sweat and get rid of water, but you're also going to get rid of a lot of other things too, right? So you need to, you're getting rid of the bad stuff, but you could be getting rid of some of the important minerals in your body. So you need to pay attention to that. And I would recommend supplementing it with some product, you know, that's out there that you know, will energize your cells. So those.
What about your program? Because Connie, I'm just going to say this. It's me time, and I wake up early. Like, and I just want to say this for someone who's never been in, well, I can only speak to my Sunlighten. It is worth waking up 30 minutes, but like, I get up now. I'm crazy. I wake up naturally at like 4:30. I don't know what it is. But the first thing I do is I get this phone, go to my Sunlighten app, and start preheating. And that's something you have to factor into when you're thinking about, you know, okay, what am I going to do today with my sauna? Because it's, at least mine is in my basement. It takes about, for me, 40-ish minutes, even though I know you get benefits if it's preheating. But I do that, and it is the best time, quiet, pampering. So it's not like you're waking up early to go work out at the gym. It's you're waking up early, or you're getting up and making time for something that you feel like you have pampered yourself, you've relaxed, you've had that time to focus, meditate, do whatever. So I look at it that way. Now, even though I do think that it's good to get short snippets, I just never feel like I'm shortchanged. I love every minute that I'm in it.
That's fantastic. And that's the ideal. That is 100% the ideal. I found that, you know, because, you know, I mean, my kids in the stages
You've
that
got
they're
kids at
in,
home. Yes.
it was really
Got kids at
hard
home.
to
Yeah,
do it all.
that's right.
And, you know, I have, you know, my youngest right now, who's a freshman in high school, he's now has to gain weight. And so like, he has to have like all this
Oh,
food in the morning. So,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, yeah,
there's life things where
yeah.
I struggled with fitting it all in, and I found myself not doing it because I was struggling fitting it all in. And then once I started, you know, doing a little bit, then oh, man, it's just, I figured all the solutions out. So I really encourage other people to do the same. When it comes to the programs, to answer your question, if I have the time, then I will always do a program. So I have 2 different ways to do it. I have one where I like sneak it in, and then sometimes I get up to 30 minutes because I figure out how to do that, which is awesome. You know, but if I only do 15 minutes, I give myself the mental grace of saying, Connie, good job. That was
That's
great.
good. Yeah.
is like, that was awesome. Good job. You did it. And then like, just tomorrow's a new day. And it's so if I have more time and I know I do, then I will
Hmm.
always do a program. And I always just get in. Well, I turn it on and I get in. I don't like, I'll
Oh,
get
you
in.
don't preheat.
I don't, because the energy, the way it works with the body, it's especially the far infrared, which is the foundational wavelength. That's really the most important of the four. It is by far. I mean, that's a separate podcast, but it's
Oh.
super powerful. And far infrared is the longest wavelength. And when you turn it on, it's the easiest part of the entire cycle for it to be absorbed into your body. And so I just get in there, I let it, I just mentally have this picture, of it's getting into my body, and as it heats up, I can stretch, I can write down all my intentions for the day. I mean, there's so many different
Mhm.
things that I can do. That's my overall routine.
So does like, if you're wanting to just get those the benefits from the far, you can literally turn on any of do all of the programs have far?
Yeah, that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that. All of the programs have far. That's the foundational wavelength. That is the most
Okay.
important wavelength. Not all have mid, not all have near, because it doesn't really, based on science, it doesn't really matter. But all have far. And to go one step further, the ones I use the most are pain for sure and anti-aging. Those are probably my
Those are
two
mine.
go-to the most. Cardio
Mhm.
is great. If I haven't had cardio is intense, and if I haven't had a week where I have done a lot of cardio, outside or something like that, then I feel like, okay, I need that. That's kind of my way to fit in,
Mhm.
my walking or my running or, my weights. But typically I don't miss those things. It's like I don't miss sauna. This is part of my lifestyle, and it gives me the energy. I truly believe it helps with your biological clock. Like, I just really, I mean, it does, because far infrared helps activate a gene that helps decrease inflammation, and inflammation is the number one reason that people age. So if you want
Mm.
to help turn back that biological clock, far infrared is one of the greatest ways to do that.
Okay, I am so thrilled to know that you literally do not have to preheat. You can turn it on, get in, and I'm so glad you said you allow yourself grace. And let me say, me acting like I do the program every time, I'm an empty nester. I do what I want to do. Zach and I, we do what we want. We don't have kids at home. I remember the days. So I think that's lovely that you realize, hey, I'm getting benefits. And if I can only get in 10 minutes, that's 10 minutes um,
Me
of,
time.
of me time that I'm still reaping the benefits. I tend to sometimes be all or nothing, and that is not good. So I'm so glad you said that. And I'm so glad to know, because it will prompt you. Do you want to preheat your sauna? Why would someone, if like, is there a reason you would want to preheat it if you're
Yeah.
going to get the benefits regardless?
Yeah, a lot of people, I always say to people, it's a personal preference. Like, you do you.
Hmm. Yeah.
You do your sauna the way you want to do your sauna. You get the
Hmm.
opportunity to do that. And you do your sauna the way you're going to fit it in to your
Hmm.
routine as much as possible. Because
Hmm.
that's my goal for everybody, is to do it as much as they can. And if you like it preheated, and you will do it more and you will do it longer preheated, then do that. Like,
Hmm.
it doesn't, that's how I like to do it. And it is another barrier buster for me to get in and do it, right? So
Hmm.
I'll just go downstairs while I'm getting everything else ready in the morning, and I go downstairs, and then, I press the button, and away I'm in there, and
Yeah.
and the whole time I'm thinking of, okay, so I really literally am like changing my day so that I can stay in there a little bit longer.
Mhm.
But that's my preference.
Well, and I know I've had so much of your time this morning, but I want to ask one thing before we sign off. I know you get feedback and you have a lot of high profile people that have I mean, lots of high profile people who use your sauna. And I encourage everyone who's looking or shopping to go to your website, and I'll link to all the ways to learn about Sunlighten, all the testimonials. What is one of the most amazing success stories that you have heard from someone who bought a Sunlighten because of maybe a pain or something that, and now they've had a life-changing experience?
Yeah, so two come to mind, and I can share them really quickly because I know we're running out of time. So this is one that most people don't know about. So I don't know if you know the singer Edie Brickell, Paul Simon's wife. So
I know Paul
she,
Simon, yes.
yeah, so so she was struggling with her shoulder, and but this is years and years ago. She bought an Impulse when it came on the market, and because she plays the guitar, and she was like, her shoulder injury was preventing her from, being able to do what she loved to do, which is
Mhm.
why we exist in the first place. So now telling the story, it makes me so happy because like our whole goal at Sunlighten is to help people feel better so they can do more of what they love to do with the people they
Yeah,
love to do it with. And
yeah.
that was her story. So that was one that came to mind. Another, I have a lot. In the interest of time, I'll just share this. So because she's public with it, is Leanne Rhymes, and she's got a beautiful story just about how, she got, so famous so fast when she was 14, and then she just really struggled over the years with depression and anxiety. And then when she hit 40, then she like really freaked out, and she's like, I don't want to keep going like this. And
Mhm,
so her doctor recommended Sunlighten, and she will say exactly that when she's going through that cycle mentally where like it's getting really dark and she's
mhm,
having a lot of anxiety and she really literally feels like the world is about, to tumble,
mhm,
she will go in and she's like, all of a sudden I everything is gone
mm,
and I feel like I can handle anything.
mhm.
And, it puts me in my happy place. And she calls it her happiness in a box. Yeah, that's a really
Love
happy
that.
story. There's,
Yeah.
Ryan Sutter had Lyme disease and he was on The Bachelorette, and he went public and talked about how he uses his sunlight and sauna to help detoxify the body. And it was one of the only things that did. And
Wow.
yeah. So that's a
So
great question. A lot of people don't ask me that question, and there's a lot of
yeah,
great stories that I can share because they've shared it.
yeah. I've seen some of those on your Instagram, and I did see the Leanne, something about Leanne, how she had benefited, but oh my goodness. Well, I can just speak from personal experience. I tell Zane all the time, I did not know how much I was going to love this sauna.
Yay.
It is, and now I love a warm space. It is like a little warm cocoon. And I'll end on this because it's a little bit humorous. But Zane gets up a little after I do. But when I hear him moving around upstairs, I'm thinking, okay, I hope he knows I'm down there. I don't want him to yell down. I don't want him to call for me. It's just that wonderful time that I feel we all need, whether it's having children at home or just having a particularly busy day or just the way you live. It's that time where it's just fabulous, but you're reaping benefits of being still, which is amazing. So, Connie, thank you. I would love to have you back because there's so many other things that we could talk about, but I'm very, very grateful to you for sharing what you did today and come back again.
I would love to come back and continue our conversation. It has just been such a pleasure. It went so fast and it was great to meet
Yes.
you. And thank you for having me on. I really, really enjoyed our time together.
Well, thank you. And to all watching and listening, until next time, you have a fabulous rest of your day. Hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the SavvyCast. If you'll take the time to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, that would mean so much. As always, thank you for listening and have a blessed day.